Viltrox were a company that only a few years ago was not taken that seriously versus some of the more well-known lens manufacturers. But only a short time frame, they've started producing both affordable, high-quality budget lenses and high-quality premium lenses that go toe-to-toe with those first-party lenses from each camera manufacturer. What this leads to ultimately is a huge win for consumers who now get more options and more affordable lenses. Now at the moment, Viltrox seem to have 4 tiers of lenses. The Lab series, which is their highest quality offering. The Pro series, which seems to be replacing their Viltrox unnamed F1.8 series, which I owned a set of and thought offered excellent value for money. And then there's the Air series, which focus on being very small and very cheap. And now their EVO series, which are compact and affordable, but not quite as small as their Airs and perhaps not quite as good as the Pros, but seem to kind of offer a perfect balance between size, quality, and affordability. They have already released the Viltrox 85mm f2 EVO and now the 55mm 1.8 EVO, which I'm covering today. Firstly, Viltrox did send this to me for free to review, and I do get to keep it, but they have no editorial over this, and the video and my opinions are my own. This version is for the Z mount, but they also have an E mount version available. Now I'll be honest, I wasn't super enthused to look at this lens, purely because I thought it wouldn't be that great at a price point of around $275 US, and sitting below the Pro line and the Lab line, were they even necessary? But I'm pleased to say that this has turned out to be one of my favorite budget lenses, and there's a few reasons for that, including something that took me completely by surprise. And look, if I'm going to be recommending gear, being able to recommend legitimately affordable gear is something I feel much more positive about when feeding the gear monster. First, I like the fact that this is a 55mm as opposed to a 50mm. Just like the 28mm being one of my favorite focal lengths, I gravitate to lenses that gives you just a little bit more reach. And if you're using this with a full frame camera, that extra 5mm is very welcome if you want to use this as a traditional portrait lens without being forced to get quite so close to your subject. The autofocus seems very snappy and responsive, no issues whatsoever for me in my basic tests, and what I found is that it was very comparable to first-party Z-mount lenses in that regard, which was nice to see. Maybe a little bit of micropulsing and hunting, but pretty good. I also like the fact that we can manually adjust the aperture, and not only that, we can choose to have a smooth manual aperture or clickable manual aperture, which is a really nice feature for a lens this cheap. This is a focus by wire system, so it doesn't have hard stops for focusing, and it's not really designed as a manual focusing lens. However, its focus ring is quite nice to use when making manual adjustments, and it does have a switch on the side to quickly switch between manual and autofocus, and an extra button which I presume you can program a function into. I didn't do that, but I was pleased to see we have so many manual adjustment options on the lens itself, which I much prefer to simply relying on the camera controls to make my lens adjustments. The size and weight of this lens is another plus. I love using smaller lenses. I appreciate their compact nature. It makes them great for travel, great for handheld work, and easy to cart about in your camera bag. This is one of the reasons I enjoyed the Thypox Chimera Cs so much as mini cine lenses, because small is good. I was running this on my DJI RS3 Mini with the Nikon ZR with absolutely no issues. And if this lens set can stay around this size and weight, it really is an excellent option for gimbal users who, like me, want to keep my setup as light and as minimalist as possible. So this was my first welcome surprise. I wasn't expecting this to be a good gimbal option, but it really is. The other thing that I enjoyed about this lens was that it did not feel overly sharp and clinical, which, as we know here on the Savage Filmmaker, is my least favorite thing about modern cameras and modern lenses. And thankfully this lens does not give me the clinical ick. And further to that point, the bokeh I thought was really smooth and soft, no weird stuff going on here, just looks very creamy and natural. Now, the final thing which really took me by surprise was the minimum focus distance on this lens, because essentially you're not limited to just wider portrait shots. You can really get in there. And this, in my experience, is very uncommon in 50mm style lenses, and especially cheap 50mm style lenses. It always seems the minimum focus distance is the trade-off for the price, but not so in this case. So the lens feels like one of the most flexible in my collection. So I have the option of getting some really nice tight shots along with more typical portrait framing. I can fly it on my gimbal very easily. I can use it manually if I need to. The focus is good and the look is not too sharp for my tastes, which then makes the price of this lens and the EVO series actually extremely impressive. The only thing I don't like about this lens is that the 85mm EVO is f2 while this is f1.8. Obviously f1.8 is better, but I also hope that this is a more consistent choice across the lens set going forward. It's always nice to have a lens set with a consistent universal f-stop. And that's not really the fault of this lens, more the design choice they made between this and the 85. I have to take my hat off to Viltrox on this one. I do recommend this lens because it has such a high price to performance ratio. So how much do I like this lens? I like it so much I'm going to buy the 85mm version to pair with this, and I'm eagerly awaiting additional focal lengths. If Viltrox can make a 35 and 24 to the same standard as this one, I would say this set will be my main set for whenever I'm relying on autofocus. The size, price, and look you get has it punching way above its weight, and I can't wait to see more of those focal lengths. Now, if you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe. If you haven't found this video helpful, seek medical counsel immediately, as your mental faculties may have been severely compromised. As always, I am the Savage Filmmaker, and I'll see you when I see you.